Hey, this is Dan, your pain-free coach. Now, in this video, I told you I was going to give you some more proof. I know what I've already shown you in the what's really causing my pain video, the pathway to pain, as well as the medical proof. I'm really asking you to make a major change to your belief system. Your belief may have been that structure, meaning your body, was causing the pain all along because that's what you've been told, that's what you've been essentially programmed to believe. So I've given you the medical proof, I've mapped out that pathway to pain, and in this video I really want to share with you some stories. I will share with you my story at the end here, but I also want to share with you some success stories of clients who have been through this Zero Pain Now process and have gotten pain-free. So I've got a couple of notes here to make sure I don't miss anything and that I remember all the details. So let me talk about Lori. Lori's my last client, most recent one that I've worked with, and she had about 2 years of pain, most of it severe, and it really got very severe on New Year's Day of 2014. She had medications, rest, massage, chiropractic. She even had 2 epidural injections, which really only gave her relief for about 4 days. What I did was I explained to Lori a lot about Zero Pain Now and this mind-body pain disorder that a lot of people suffer from unknowingly, and how it's really caused by all of these repressed emotions. And I helped her connect the dots. I started asking her questions about, well, when did the pain start? Okay, what was going on in your life? Oh, you found out your job was going to be terminated at some point in the future due to some layoffs. And then when did it really get bad? New Year's Day. Well, how was New Year's Eve? Oh, it was horrible. Broke up with the boyfriend. Things were awful. So we were able to really connect the dots between her emotional world and the onset of pain and the flare-up of pain. And that got her to open her eyes to this process. She decided to go into the Zero Pain Now 28-day coaching program with me. And in the first several days of doing the work, there is a little bit of work that you have to do every day, about 15 to 20 minutes worth. She started to notice some changes to her pain. It would move a little bit, it would change in intensity. And anytime you get either of those 2 scenarios, that means you're on the right track, that this is emotionally induced pain, not structure. Because if it was truly the structure, your pain levels wouldn't shift or move to different parts of your body. So she committed to this 28-day program, and on day 6, there's actually an in-person or by Skype, a full work session where we spend a couple, 2, 3, 4 hours, however long it takes, to get a significant reduction in pain, if not a complete resolution. And on day 6, out of a 28-day program, Lori became pain-free. I'm here to tell you that she is back at the gym. She's feeling better than she ever has. She also connected the dots to some symptoms she had earlier in life. Not necessarily this particular back pain and sciatic pain down her leg, but she connected the dots emotionally to some other symptoms which she had earlier in life. So Lori's doing great. That's one success story. Another client, Mary Ann, she had back spasms. And what was really interesting to her that she pointed out was sometimes it would spasm on the left, sometimes on the right, sometimes across the middle. She would spend a lot of time laying in bed. She was miserable, even used the word depressed. She went to chiropractic, took medicine, went to doctors, and nothing really helped her. And in her words, she says, emotions are like the last thing people think of as to the cause of pain. But what's great is once they get the concept and they start focusing their thoughts on the emotions and away from the structure, you can get out of pain. So that's a little tip for you. Whether you work with me or not, stop focusing on your pain. I have a quote that I love to say, which is, what you focus on magnifies. If you focus on your pain, you're really, really going to make it worse. Okay, so focus on the emotions, unrepress those things, acknowledge them, and it'll help you get out of pain. Little tip for you. So again, Mary Ann was able to, by going through this process and going through this program, she was able to eliminate these back spasms. She's now pain-free. No more spasms. Our next client was Annie, and she had a car accident at 13 years old. She's in her 40s, I believe. She had orthopedic surgeons, chiropractic, years of doctors, and she was, in some times was feeling okay, other times in a lot of pain. She always just felt she had a bad back from that car accident. A lot of people believe that. Oh, I fell off of something in my 20s and now I've got a bad back. I slipped on the ice, or I was in a car accident. Again, the concept is the body heals. So if you're in pain longer than 6 to 8 weeks, which is the normal time for most injuries to heal, something else is going on. So Annie had a lifetime of pain. Sometimes got relief, but it would always return. She really understood the emotional connection, and when she did, the pain went away for her. She used to have to do stretches just to get out of bed. Now she hops out, in her words. And she's back at the gym, no limitations. She hikes, she runs with the kids. Basically no physical limitations at all. Now we've got Greg. Greg had excruciating neck pain for about 3 months, and he was going to see the chiropractor pretty much 2 times a week. His wife was even getting ready to go fill out a prescription for pain meds, some muscle relaxants. And that's when he found out about Zero Pain Now, and he worked with one of the coaches. And basically within a couple of hours, his pain level dropped significantly to the point where he told his wife, don't fill the prescription, I don't need it. And then he's back pain-free. He's going horseback riding again, which is one of his passions. So he's been able to really regain his life. We've got Emily now. Emily's 38 years of neck and back pain and other symptoms. She's got MRI and x-rays that really show a lot of structural problems that most pain disorders are blamed on. And at this point, within about 30 days, after a lifetime of pain, she's got complete pain relief. And she did make the connections to the emotions. She did go through the 28-day program, which does involve some journaling, some writing. She really liked the structure of the program. And I will tell you, when I get to my story, how lack of structure or just a little bit of information is great, but you may need a little more structure to do the right things and get into the right habits of thought to get yourself out of pain, even though you know what's going on. And I'll get to that on my story. But so she did the writing. She had access to us as a coach, and she started to verbalize and acknowledge some emotions. And basically, she got rid of her fear. She got rid of her pain. She's running now. She can run up to 4 miles in a single run. She's back playing golf with no fear, no worries about hurting herself as she takes her swing. So Emily really got her life back. And again, that was after like 38 years of pain and other symptoms. So those are a lot of the client testimonials. My story is my back pain started when I was 33 years old. I was bending over to put on my underwear, of all things. And that really started 11 long years of pain. I was in pain, I was out of pain, I was walking crooked. I actually developed a severe muscle imbalance that literally had me looking like I had scoliosis. I would walk funny. It was really pretty debilitating. Couldn't ride a bike, couldn't hop off a curb without pain. I started this out when my son was like 4 years old, and I missed a lot of his childhood with regard to playing with him and really fully engaging physically in outdoor play. Even when he wanted to run over and jump on me, I'd, whoa, Dad hurts, don't do that. So I missed out on so many things in life. It affected things in the bedroom. It affected my psyche, my confidence. So many ways this pain affected me. I remember having to shut the door in my office countless times, several times a day, so I could lay on the floor in my business clothes and just let my back decompress. I'm sure many of you guys can relate to that. I even had a situation where I had 14 hours where I literally could not get off the floor, the muscle spasms, and the pain was so bad, couldn't even get up. So I had a lot of years of pain. Now, for me, I actually discovered this mind-body connection, this emotional cause of pain, pretty early in the process. About a year or two in, I discovered the work of Dr. John Sarno, and he's the guy who originally founded this stuff, discovered it. And he wrote several books: Healing Back Pain, The Mind-Body Prescription, The Divided Mind. I've got all of them here on my bookshelf. I've studied them. And basically when I first discovered it, I got out of pain quickly. Problem was the pain kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back. And I really didn't, once it came back, I got more and more frustrated because I didn't know how to beat it again. I knew what was causing it, but everything I read, everything I tried, nothing really worked. So I had 11 years of on and off pain. Sometimes it was mild, sometimes it was wild, but it was, for the most part, it was always there. And by working with a coach such as myself, I'm really offering you the opportunity to shortchange or short circuit that 11-year learning cycle. And I studied this stuff. I've bought every book about the mind-body condition. I bought psychology books, neuroscience books. I've bought everything I could, studied it completely. And I still took 11 years to get myself out of pain. I really don't want you to take that long. Again, my last client, Lori, 6 days later, after she began the process, she was out of pain. It's unbelievable that when you get this and you go through the process, this very structured process, you can get out of pain quickly. So with my story, I don't want you to go through what I did. And late in the process, when I finally figured this out, I've been out of pain for about 5 years. I've got no physical limitations at all. Last winter we had a heck of a snowstorm. I'm shoveling 24 inches of snow up here in the Northeast. Bike riding, rock climbing. I've ran a couple of 5Ks since I got out of pain. Exercising, fitness, the bedroom activities are better. You may not want to know that, but in any event, I'm completely out of pain. And if I ever get a twinge, I now have a very structured process to follow that makes sure that I can get rid of it immediately before it turns into a major episode. And I know how fearful those episodes are. If you get a little twinge in your back, even if you're feeling pretty good, you get that little twinge, and before you know it, you're in a complete panic thinking, oh boy, here we go again. So again, 33 years old, a healthy male, no major physical problems. I did have some arthritis of the spine, which kind of scared me hearing that, and they told me I would just get worse and worse as I got older. Despite that, in my 40s, 44 years old, I got pain-free. And certainly my body was more aged and more prone to pain, if you would think about it from a structural perspective. But yet now I'm 49 years old and I've got zero pain at all. So the goal of this video is really to just kind of give you some stories and some real-life examples, myself being a great example of how even if you find this information, you sometimes need a little help in getting pain-free. For me, I had to create my own program. I got myself pain-free before I discovered Zero Pain Now, and I was so enamored by the structured process that Zero Pain Now offers that I've spent a considerable amount of money to be mentored by Adam Heller, the founder of Zero Pain Now, and have now become one of only 2 practitioners that he's trained to run the Zero Pain Now program. And so I can provide to you a very structured approach. Now you can go out and buy the books by John Sarno. You can even buy the books from Adam Heller at Get Zero Pain Now. And in the next video, I'll get into a little bit of how you can work with me. But there's a very structured approach that works wonders and is very fast. So I'll talk to you in the next video tomorrow. What I really want you to do is digest this. If you haven't watched them all yet, watch all 3 videos that I've just shared with you. The Pathway to Pain, the medical proof video, and now these customer success stories, which again is more proof as to what's going on. You're already making a very significant shift in your beliefs. Just by watching all of these videos and taking the time to go through them, it means that you understand that there might be a connection here. If you've done that DPS quiz, you saw what your score was. If you've done that body and pain audit, and were very honest with yourself about what was going on with your life emotionally at the times that your pain started, and really anytime you had flare-ups. So you've gone through a lot of this process, and you're already on the cusp of really understanding what's going on and how you can get yourself out of pain. In the next video tomorrow, I'm going to share with you the ways that you can work with me as your personal pain-free coach. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you tomorrow.